trying to get things done on a day-to-day basis. Are you experiencing anger more frequently in common situations? And this may also look familiar. So here you are, you know, in traffic and just can't take it. And do you overeat or undereat when you feel stressed? And of course, there are many situations in where we are comforting ourselves in stress. And sometimes stress makes it so that we just don't feel like eating at all. So the key is to acknowledge that you're stressed and to find out how stress affects you.
Let's talk about what stress can do. You're going to have emotional symptoms when you're stressed out. Anxiety being very common, which can in some cases lead to depression. It can also change your sex drive and even cause a lack of focus. Of course, these make life and enjoying life very difficult. Here's the reality though, stress, which is a mental thing, causes physical symptoms and it has physiologic realities like sleep disturbances. You can develop muscle tension over time. People sometimes have anxiety attacks that bring on chest pain and fatigue as well as frequent headaches. Now, you may experience both emotional and physical symptoms, but be sure to talk with your doctor. Don't assume those physical symptoms are just due to stress without being evaluated.
That is so critical. A recent study suggested that over 75% of doctors' office visits were related to conditions that are affected by stress. And there are many, many chronic health conditions that we have links to stress that we know.
Stressful situations actually cause the release of hormones as well as chemicals in your brain. And if you have long-term activation of these hormones, it can actually increase the risk of many diseases. And the first one of those would be obesity. And these end up being self-reinforcing processes that then can increase your risk of heart disease. It can actually cause digestive issues, as well as, believe it or not, memory impairment over time. It can depress your immune system, and it can even cause fertility problems in some.
And many people admit that they don't manage stress very well. I gave you the first day at the beginning, and that is to acknowledge stress and understand how it affects you. And I give 4 more A's that people can remember that might help lead them to ways in which they can reduce stress. The first of all is avoid it. Many of us know situations that are going to put us under stress, and we go there anyway. So avoid stress when you can. Get out in front of things and take control. The second thing is alter circumstances where you can. And if you can't find that you can do that on your own, then communicate with friends, family, and sometimes your medical professional to help you get a better course to manage your stress. And the last 2 are also really important. One is to adapt, and the other one is to accept. Sometimes you can use positive thinking, and sometimes you just have to change your expectations in order to manage your stress better. And for more tips on managing stress and the potential health consequences of stress, go to gethealthystayhealthy.com.
And you can visit thedoctorstv.com for additional information. Thank you, as always.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Let's all just breathe.
My doctor's orders. What is sudden cardiac death? This is what a healthy heart looks like as it pumps blood through the body. This rhythmic pumping action is the heartbeat, and this is controlled by the heart's electrical system. In some patients, there is a problem with the heart's electrical system, and the heart suddenly starts beating so fast that it quivers or shakes instead of pumping blood to the body and brain. When this happens, the patient can collapse and die suddenly. This is called sudden cardiac death, also known as SCD. It occurs without warning. Some people confuse sudden cardiac death with a heart attack, but they are not the same. A heart attack is caused by a blockage that stops blood flow and the oxygen supply to part of the heart. Within a short time, these cells start to die, causing damage to the heart. With a heart attack, a person may feel severe chest pain or other symptoms, but usually remains conscious. Sudden cardiac death, however, occurs without warning and without the person feeling any signs that something is about to happen. With sudden cardiac death, you suddenly fall unconscious and will not be able to call for help. It may even happen while you sleep. The life vest can protect you from sudden cardiac death by delivering a treatment to restore your heart's normal rhythm. With the life vest, the monitoring is constant, the protection is immediate, and you and your loved ones will have the peace of mind that comes from knowing that the life vest is ready to help you if you need it.
usually make a distinction between acute stress, chronic stress, and stress leading to burnout. Acute stress is the instinctive reaction to an impulse or trigger, for instance, when you're startled, or you have exam stress, or there's an imminent deadline, a near accident, or when you're winning a game. Now, this is the most common form of stress. It's perfectly normal, and it will go away as soon as its cause disappears. Chronic stress is caused by resistance, by not accepting events that go on in your life. Even when there is no specific trigger, it will continue to bother you. It's a typical human phenomenon, often about matters that you cannot do anything about, for instance, fretting or being nervous for a presentation that is due 3 months from now, general anxiety, fear of failure, clashing with the corporate culture, the general economic crisis, a general feeling of insecurity, a chronic illness, and so on. Burnout is the result of a longer period of energy loss due to chronic stress and is often characterized by exhaustion and reduced flexibility. But stress is not always bad news. Positive stress, call it task tension if you...
What's going on in the brain when you learn? In order to learn anything, whether it's math, foreign language, guitar, or how to dribble a basketball, you need to create and strengthen pathways in your brain. Think about shooting a free throw. Know that feeling when you've got it down and don't even have to think about it? That's muscle memory. Here's the thing. Muscle memory lives in the brain, not the muscles. Your brain controls everything your muscles do, and it does this by activating specific neural pathways for each and every movement. These are functional pathways, neurons working together to achieve a goal. Say you're learning how to shoot a free throw. If it's your first time doing it, you don't yet have a pathway for that movement in your brain. You need to create it. Let's use an analogy to look at what's happening in the brain during this time. When you're first learning, your brain is like a forest full of trees and dense foliage, with no clear pathway between point A and point B. As you learn the mechanics of shooting a free throw, you create a trail through the forest. Now you can shoot the free throw because you've created that pathway in your brain. But you probably don't make many shots because it's so new. The pathway isn't very clear yet. In order to improve your free throw, you need to refine and strengthen the free throw pathway in your brain. The way you do that is through practice. Practice gradually widens the trail through the trees, turning it into a dirt road between A and B. You're starting to get pretty good now. You're making more free throws than not. You don't have to think about the mechanics as much. That's because the pathway gets stronger after each practice rep, and you've done a lot of reps. With even more practice, the dirt road turns into a paved road connecting A and B, allowing information to be transmitted at a faster rate. Now you're a 70% free throw shooter, and when you step up to the line, you don't even have to think about it. Eventually, with enough practice, what started as a trail has become a full-blown highway. Now you're a master, draining almost every free throw, and the movement is completely second nature. Scientists call this plasticity, and it's your brain's innate ability to create and strengthen connections between neurons. These connections are the path through the forest. Halo Sport optimizes this process by temporarily increasing plasticity in the part of your brain that controls movement, so that your brain can create and strengthen these pathways faster than you would otherwise. We call this hyperplasticity. When you practice or train in this state, you're able to write muscle memory more effectively, allowing you to get that much more out of your practice. In terms of our analogy, Halo Sport helps you build super highways of muscle memory at an accelerated rate. It's not magic, it's neuroscience.
Money, traffic, relationships, health issues, we all encounter circumstances that cause...
What is sudden cardiac?
Hello, my name is Ugochukwu Omeogo. Welcome to my Wealth Nuggets. You know, the concept of wealth goes beyond cash. It talks about family, health, values, integrity, all of those things that comprises the quality of a man is what makes a man wealthy. Okay, and one of the most important factors of wealth is parenting. Guess what? The child is the parent of the mother and father. The child is the parent of the mother and father. You know, parents, most mother and fathers think that they're the parent of the child. Well, inversely, yes, it's counterintuitive. Whenever you're raising a child, you're raising your own parent. You're raising someone that will take care of you when you are not able to take care of yourself. So in other words, you are also raising the kind of person that will take care of you. So the child you have, I want to ask you a question. When you're not able to help yourself, go out, talk to people, protect your assets and the things you want to transfer to them in wealth transfer, what kind of parent would you want that child to be? In other words, like giving me the opportunity to raise my own parents, what type of person would I want them to be? I would want to raise a wealthy child, a rich child, a disciplined child, a child with strong character. So when I'm no longer able to think or process my thoughts, I would depend on his own intelligence. So I have the opportunity right now to raise the kind of person I can depend my life on. So say it after me. The child is the parent of the mother and father. I have seen so many mother and father who regret the type of child they raised. You know why? They didn't know at the time that they were raising their own parent. So do you have a child? Do you have children? I want you to know those are your parents. How you raise them determine how to take care of you. Okay? I hope today you learned a lot from these particular nuggets. I just want you to go to my Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
What's going on in the brain when you learn? In order to learn anything, whether it's math, a foreign language, guitar, or how to dribble a basketball, you need to create and strengthen pathways in your brain. Think about shooting a free throw. Know that feeling when you've got it down and don't even have to think about it? That's muscle memory. Here's the thing. Muscle memory lives in the brain, not the muscles. Your brain controls everything your muscles do, and it does this by activating specific neural pathways for each and every movement. These are functional pathways, neurons working together to achieve a goal. Say you're learning how to shoot a free throw. If it's your first time doing it, you don't yet have a pathway for that movement in your brain. You need to create it. Let's use an analogy to look at what's happening in the brain during this time. When you're first learning, your brain is like a forest full of trees and dense foliage, with no clear pathway between point A and point B. At a free throw, you create a trail through the forest. Now you can shoot the free throw because you've created that pathway in your brain. But you probably don't make many shots because it's so new. The pathway isn't very clear yet. In order to improve your free throw, you need to refine and strengthen the free throw pathway in your brain. The way you do that is through practice. Practice gradually widens the trail through the trees, turning it into a dirt road between A and B. You're starting to get pretty good now. You're making more free throws than not. You don't have to think about the mechanics as much. That's because the pathway gets stronger after each practice rep. And you've done a lot of reps. With even more practice, the dirt road turns into a paved road connecting A and B, allowing information to be transmitted at a faster rate. Now you're a 70% free throw shooter, and when you step up to the line, you don't even have to think about it. Eventually, with enough practice, what started as a trail has become a full-blown highway. Now you're a master, draining almost every free throw, and the movement is completely second nature. Scientists call this plasticity, and it's your brain's innate ability to create and strengthen connections between neurons. These connections are the path through the forest. Halo Sport optimizes this process by temporarily increasing plasticity in the part of your brain that controls movement, so that your brain can create and strengthen these pathways faster than you would otherwise. We call this hyperplasticity. When you practice or train in this state, you're able to write muscle memory more effectively, allowing you to get that much more out of your practice. In terms of our analogy, Halo Sport helps you build superhighways of muscle memory at an accelerated rate. It's not magic, it's neuroscience.
Money, traffic, relationships, health issues, we all encounter circumstances that cause us stress. So Dr. Frida Lewis Hall, the Chief Medical Officer of Pfizer, is back to stress. It might be beneficial. It's in fact a normal response to a pressure situation. It just may motivate you to do a better job. But here's the reality. Unmanaged chronic stress, it can be hazardous to your health. So think of stress a little bit like this rubber band. I'm putting a lot of pressure on this. If you don't release it at some point, this band could snap. And so could a person if you're placed under continued chronic stress. So that leads to the question, how do we recognize these signs of stress? Or we're going to take a look at a couple of scenarios. Because if you don't recognize signs of stress, you can't treat it, right?
That's exactly right. The first thing is to acknowledge that you are stressed. So first, do you have trouble juggling your many obligations? And this may be a familiar scene, multitasking, trying to get things done on a day-to-day basis. Are you experiencing anger more frequently in common situations? And this may also look familiar. So here you are, in traffic and just can't take it. And do you overeat or undereat when you feel stressed? And of course, there are many situations in where we are comforting ourselves in stress. And sometimes stress makes it so that we just don't feel like eating at all. So the key is to acknowledge that you're stressed and to find out how stress affects you.
Let's talk about what stress can do. You're going to have emotional symptoms when you're stressed out. Anxiety being very common, which can in some cases lead to depression. It can also change your sex drive and even cause a lack of focus. Of course, these make life and enjoying life very difficult. Here's the reality though, stress, which is a mental thing, causes physical symptoms and it has physiologic realities like sleep disturbances. You can develop muscle tension over time. People sometimes have anxiety attacks that bring on chest pain and fatigue as well as frequent headaches. Now, you may experience both emotional and physical symptoms, but be sure to talk with your doctor. Don't assume those physical symptoms are just due to stress without being evaluated.
That is so critical. A recent study suggested that over 75% of doctors' office visits were related to conditions that are affected by stress. And there are many, many chronic health conditions that we have links to stress that we know.
Stressful situations actually cause the release of hormones as well as chemicals in your brain. And if you have long-term activation of these hormones, it can actually increase the risk of many diseases. And the first one of those would be obesity. And these end up being self-reinforcing processes that then can increase your risk of heart disease. It can actually cause digestive issues, as well as, believe it or not, memory impairment over time. It can depress your immune system, and it can even cause fertility problems in some.
And many people admit that they don't manage stress very well. I gave you the first day at the beginning, and that is to acknowledge stress and understand how it affects you. I'm going to give 4 more A's that people can remember that might help lead them to ways in which they can reduce stress. The first of all is avoid it. Many of us know situations that are going to put us under stress, and we go there anyway. So avoid stress when you can. Get out in front of things and take control. The second thing is alter circumstances where you can. And if you can't find that you can do that on your own, then communicate with friends, family, and sometimes your medical professional to help you get a better course to manage your stress. And the last 2 are also really important. One is to adapt, and the other one is to accept.
What is
We usually make a distinction between acute stress, chronic stress, and stress leading to burnout.
Hello. My name.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's about time to begin able to and where you are connected from. I'm going to use that as a way to welcome you. Normally, when we have programs like this, what we do is that we use your presence here to welcome you so that we acknowledge you, because without you, you will not have this community. And today, for the first time, I'm going to be explaining the nature of the community that we have, so that for those of us who would want to be part of the community can become part. It's known as the impact community. The impact community. So please type your name and kindly type where you connected from. I'm going to be using that as a way to welcome all of us here. Okay. So what is your name and where have you connected from? And for those of us who were here earlier and have seen the link, you can send the link to your friends and families and co-workers and even your enemies. Tell them that something incredible is happening here. You don't know exactly the nitty-gritty, but it's happening. So you want them to join to listen to it. It could affect their health. I want to say a big welcome to Songam from Nigeria, Ima Ikibi from Nigeria, Dr. Prosper Tettey Doe from the UK, James from Ghana, Georgina Ehelewe from the UK, Alphonsus Okoye also from Lagos. So it's a pleasure to have all of you here. I am joined by Dr. GLORIA ANSAH. Dr. GLORIA ANSAH is a specialist doctor from the University of Ghana Hospital. She is one of the persons I'll be co-presenting with, and she will tell us some incredible things as it relates to glutathione and hypertension. You're going to love some of the things that she normally discusses here. And then we have incredible other people who will be sharing their powerful stories, to be honest, with us right here. So once again, I want to say welcome, every one of you who is right here. You are all cordially welcome to
Recording in progress.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dr. Asare, Dr. Kweku Onyasare. I'm a senior lecturer of the University of Ghana, Lagos, and I'm also in 2 other universities in the UK and in South Africa. I'm going to share 4 things, but most especially is all going to be about health. Health is the most precious commodity. A lot of people joke with their health until they see blood. I have seen many people die, some right in front of me, all because they toy with their health. And sometimes many people think that when you grow old, that is when you should be concerned about your health. It is not true. I have seen students between the ages of 20 to 30 having cardiac arrest and just going, just like that. You can't predict your health structure. And today you're going to see the signs why that is not possible. So the impact community is a very powerful community. And I just want to use the next few minutes, 3 minutes to just talk to you about the impact community before we go into the seriousness of our health. The impact community is a community designed by a group of 10 members, and it is designed to help espouse knowledge and give the knowledge to several people. Knowledge is the first thing that we focus on. Knowledge about from archaeology to zoology, knowledge from wealth to health, knowledge from business to accounting, knowledge from anything, relationship, happiness, joy, pride, and that's several things. This is what a community will discuss. So knowledge is a very important thing. And we've come to realize that without the accurate knowledge, a person can perish. Just like Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. The other thing that a community discusses a lot is about business development. Business, how you can create your own business by yourself, for yourself, and affect the lives of people. We discuss that. The other thing the community discusses, and it's a very deep thing, it's called relationships. Relationships in the marriage, relationships between business partners, relationship in the workplace, relationships in the school, relationships in the family. Relationships are very powerful thing, and it is one thing that the community focuses on to help people build stronger and positive relationships. And then the 4th one is health. Health is probably the most precious commodity that we have. Without health, you are nothing. Some time ago, there was this great engineer who was rushed to the hospital and he was dying. He was just practically dying. And he came with a lot of family members because apparently family members have had a man sick and they were rushing to the hospital. So they got to the hospital. And so some of them were already crying before the man was taken to the theater. After several hours of surgical operation, the engineer, so rich, the man died. And then I saw one of the siblings come to tell the doctors that we are doomed. It's like that man was the epitome of the entire village. He was the one taking care of everybody. He's gone. Everything has come to nothing. When we sometimes do not take our health seriously, you see, a lot of people take time on their jobs. They pay attention to their job. They work hard on their job. Some do businesses. They do businesses. They work hard on their businesses. They sacrifice on their business. Some have houses. They pay attention to their houses. They build more houses. They renovate more houses. They destroy and recreate more houses. They pay so much time and attention on their houses. Some have cars. They polish the cars. They take care of their cars. They feed the cars with all the things the cars need. They maintain the strength of their cars. Now, when it comes to their health, the same people do not pay attention to their health. That body that is carrying them up and down, they don't. And today, we want to discuss about the importance of your health and how you can protect that health that is carrying you up. You don't need to be 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 before you take care of your health. It would be a dangerous time for a person to do that. So many people do not take care of their health. By the time you get to know, but I've seen several people who have developed ovarian cysts, okay? And they are not aware. Several people with cancer, they are not even aware they have cancer. Okay? There was a man I know, he had prostate cancer. He didn't know. By the time he got to know it, it has reached stage 4. And it was so bad that the man had to go through an operation. It was unfortunate. So it is critical that you take care of your health. At least have the knowledge on how to manage your health. You see, if you have knowledge, they say knowledge is power. Power here means that it saves your life. For example, if you are aware that if you take water, the moment you wake up, you don't even have to paste. You don't need to brush your teeth because there are some enzymes in your mouth that you need to take water and let those enzymes enter your body. If you take that water, you're able to save yourself by about 20% if you do that consistently. If you don't have that knowledge, you will not be willing to drink that water when you've not tasted, and you will not get that coenzymes to be able to function the way it's supposed to. So, ladies and gentlemen, our health is very, very critical. And what is important to note is that it is cheap to prevent a disease than to cure a disease. It is cheap. And so you don't have to wait to be sick before you rush to the hospital. Anybody from the age of 20 needs to take care of his health because from that time, that person's molecular structures, they die off. So let's first of all look at why anybody can die at any time. Why anybody can die at any time. Ladies and gentlemen, there is something in your body that you want to protect. But before I talk about that thing in your body that you have to protect, I want to share with you the importance of knowing what oxidation is. Your body is receiving certain things. Oxidation comes from the word oxygen. If you have an apple, like what you see on your screen, you cut the apple into 2. Normally, it is very white. If it is yam, the yam is very white. After some few minutes or hours, it turns brownish or green. The reason is because the apple has come into contact with oxygen. What is happening is called oxidation. What is happening is called rusting. The apple is rusting. Now, the same thing can happen to other things that are not apples. It can happen to metallic objects. take some blade, you leave some blade down. After some few days, you come check the blade, what happens? It starts rusting. Anything that comes into contact with oxygen, that thing will be rusting. You see, oxygen is very powerful, but oxygen is also very, very damaging. Okay? So the body begins to oxidize. Now, our body comes into contact with oxygen. We breathe in oxygen, and we think oxygen is good, and yes, it is good. But in addition to it being good, once you take in the oxygen, your body begins to rust. Now, our rusting process is not like metal. But what happens is that over time, the body experiences something called oxidation rusting. This rusting goes on, and over time, the person begins to have disease. Now, this rusting is oxidation, which means that in order to stop it, you need something that fights it, antioxidants. Now, there are several doctors who have spoken about antioxidants, okay, that are in the body and even those that are outside of the body. Antioxidants fight oxidation. Antioxidants, they stop the rusting process. Okay? The most powerful of these antioxidants, we'll talk about it very soon. But the rusting process is so pronounced. So if you get a person who is stressed, that person is stressed because of oxidative stress. It's because of the oxidation that a person is going on. And stress alone affects 35% of the world population of adults. 39% of adults are overweight, which is caused by the oxidation that I'm talking about. And if you take the top 7 killer diseases in the world, they are all connected with this oxidation, that rusting of the body. Whether you eat the best food in the world, whether you have the best exercise in the world, you drink the best water in the world, your body will naturally destroy as long as you are breathing in oxygen. Okay? And that is why we need a lot of the antioxidation or antioxidants in the body. Now, there are antioxidants that are in the body, they are supposed to protect you. You come to see very soon that they don't do that. And there are antioxidants that are outside of the body. For example, you all know vitamin C. It's a very powerful outside antioxidant. It protects the body and heals the body. Flavonoids is a typical antioxidant. Trace elements like zinc and all of that, they are antioxidants, but they are all outside the body. The antioxidants that are inside the body are more powerful than the ones outside the body. You see, your body is a doctor. Your body is a medical doctor. Your body knows what is worrying it than any other person. And so if anybody can cure you, it must come from within you. So God in his infinite wisdom created something in the body that can fight this oxidation. There are several of these antioxidants. One of them is glutathione. Okay? You have catalase, you have albumin, uric acid, and several of these things, okay? Melatonin. All of these come together, but the most powerful of all is glutathione. Glutathione is a very powerful thing. It strengthens the body, it reduces inflammation, and gives you mental focus. What is this glutathione? It's a very tiny molecule in your body. The more you have it, the more you are able to fight the oxidation. And so it is important for a person to have a lot of this glutathione. Now the bad news is that as you grow from the age of 20, despite all the exercises and all the food, a person's glutathione level begins to drop. In fact, every year, 1% to 1.5% of your glutathione drop, they get destroyed. Every year, from 20 years. So from 20 to 21 years, you lose 1.5%. 21 to 22, you lose 1.5%. And so by the time a person is 55, he has lost a greater percentage. See, that's why a lot of people, they get sicker and sicker as they grow. The more they grow, the greater the diseases because the molecular defenses are going down. And research shows that we are all having 74 medical conditions as long as your glutathione level is going down. And there, many people go and take medicine. Some will take medicative elements, several medicines. There are some people, they have so many medicines in their car because he has hypertension. He will take several antihypertensive drugs, amlodipine, nifedipine, Novax, Atacam. The person is loading his body with these chemicals, and they begin to deplete the molecular structures even more. Because medicines over time are seen as enemies, foreigners by the body. Because the body is a cell, and the cells come together to form the tissues, which make the organ. Anything that is not part of the body is seen as an enemy combatant. And that is how the body sees. So when the person is taking too much of medication, the person is transferring a lot of foreigners into the body. Therefore, we need a way to allow the glutathione to actually increase. See, the glutathione is powerful enough to help us, but because it's going down, we need to raise it. It took multiple years, several years, for doctors to be able to come out with that solution. As I speak to you, ladies and gentlemen, there are over 149,000 articles published, peer-reviewed, that show that when your glutathione level is going down, which it will, as long as you and I are growing, when it is going down, your body will, over time, be contaminated with one of the diseases you see on your screen. So anytime a person is having obesity, heart attack, positive stress test, the person is having pulmonary fibrosis, asthma, hypertension, diabetes, migraine, hepatitis, infertility, cancer, joint aches. All of these are because the glutathione, that protective antioxidant, is going down. It's going down. And as long as it's going down, these diseases begin to come and increase. So what we need is to raise the glutathione. That's what we need. Once you are able to raise it, the body can do that. This man, Professor Herbert Nagasawa, and his team of medical doctors took 25 years to develop a plant compound to do that job. See, one thing about the human body is this. You know, plants can live longer than human beings. Some plants can live like 500 years, 1,000 years. Plants. What is the secret? See, the way plants manufacture their food by virtue of photosynthesis, they do not add any chemicals in that productive element. But we human beings, even to survive, we need plants, we need animals, we need cooked food, we need microwavable food, we need light, we need mobile phone, we need radioactive isotopes. All of these enter into the body. If you go take a plant and you grow a plant in a room, over time, that plant will start dying. That plant which is supposed to live longer will start dying because you are conditioning the plant in an environment that is not supposed to be so. And that is the environment we put ourselves in. So what the doctors did is that they looked at plants and then they add something into the plant, ribose. Ribose, D-ribose is a powerful natural sugar. And what it does is to energize the body to function the way it's supposed to. And the cysteine is a natural amino acid. When the two of these were combined together, the doctors created something that is known as ribose. It took 25 years. It has multiple, awards and patents attached to it. Ribosine is a very powerful thing, and there are several articles. The FDA is in US, Canada, Australia, Ghana, Nigeria. Several countries have endorsed the use of ribosine. Ribosine is in the form of a pill and a powder, and a lot of people have been using it. And what it does is this: ribosine raises the glutathione level. Remember, I said that the glutathione is the main thing you need to raise the power of defense. So ribosine raises the glutathione level, and when that happens, the body can naturally do its wonderful work. Dr. GLORIA has been one of the great doctors in this country and beyond who has been using the ribosine, giving it to several people, and has seen the benefit of that among people with hypertension and all that. Dr. GLORIA will now be sharing just the next few minutes and telling us the power or the connection between hypertension and glutathione. Dr. Ansah, please, are you there?
Yes, Doc, I'm here.
Please take over for us.
Yes. Hello and good evening to all of us, and you're all very welcome to today's presentation. And when you go onto the internet and you type in in any of the search engines, hypertension and glutathione, you are going to get millions. When I tried it, I got over 32 million articles referring to hypertension and glutathione. So as Doc said, there's so much that has gone on about glutathione, our inquiries to find out how can we raise the level, because it has been agreed that it is so critical as a component of our health and our immune system. And when it comes to the hypertension, there's a lot of literature that has shown that excessive production of certain elements contribute to hypertension. That's the reactive oxidative species. And that one, it happens when our body comes into oxygen and certain processes take place. And like Doc said, we need the oxygen for the normal processes in our cells to take place. So we will always, that's why we have to breathe in oxygen all the time. And the body needs the oxygen to produce certain important things, components that our body needs, critical. But there has to be a way that the body also deals with that excess, and that has, there's evidence concerning that. So that when there's a lot of these ROS produced, it's associated with hypertension, and the ROS can be produced in many other organs, multiple organs, including the brain, blood vessels, kidneys, and all these things are areas where we see the impact of hypertension, So the link between hypertension and increased ROS is there. We call them the scavengers, so that's what results from the oxidation that Doc was talking about. So when there's oxidative stress, it means that there's too much of the ROS and the glutathione levels have come down. So increasing glutathione levels in your body is very, very key in preventing hypertension and other related diseases. And that comes through the testimonies that we hear from our colleagues. And even our immune system, when the body is attacked by a number of species, a number of infections and microviruses, bacteria, parasites, it is this body, this glutathione that helps us to deal with them, and when there's excessive, it's because your immune system is like it's fighting infection, and when there's excessive fighting, it has also been established that can also be related to hypertension, and this is also a mechanism that the glutathione is very, very helpful in. It helps reduce that oxidative stress that promotes the mechanism in hypertension. So key point is that oxidative stress is considered a major mechanism in hypertension. There's literature to support that, and the formation of these oxygen species, they contribute to the dysfunction of the blood vessels of our kidneys and the central nervous system. You understand? And there's also evidence that they activate the species also promote inflammation that can also promote hypertension. So the link between hypertension and glutathione, and the fact that when you have optimum levels of glutathione, you have a good way, you stand a better chance of preventing hypertension. But for those who already have hypertension, maintaining it, controlling it, because some people struggle, So this figure just shows us the ways in which the ROS can affect the brain, can affect the blood vessels, can affect the kidneys, and mediate hypertension, so that the more we are exposed to attacks, the more we are exposed to external bacteria or microbes, as we call them, whether viruses or bacteria, and the body has to fight, the immune system have to fight, the more we promote or we encourage the probability that hypertension may develop. And therefore, when you have glutathione, optimal levels of iron, then you have a better chance of restricting the formation of hypertension. And therefore, it is known, and I just want you to all know, because once you know it, like Doc said, the knowledge is power. Once you have the knowledge, then you take the requisite decision to protect yourself. So there's evidence that excessive oxidative stress can mediate the pathway for hypertension, and having optimum levels of glutathione is very, very useful in helping this one. And then also in our defense system, when it comes to fighting infections, glutathione plays a key role in protecting us. So in brief, Doc, this goal to support what you've been saying earlier on. Glutathione is key, and if we have any option to increase the level of glutathione in our system, I encourage you to take that bold step, because it is part of your system and you benefit from it.
I appreciate this. And I know you have had a lot of people with several infectious diseases. Just briefly, how do you connect that also with glutathione? You think there's a connection between the infectious diseases that a person is having and that of the person's internal glutathione levels?
Yes, I mean, at the moment, we don't have an objective way of, let's say, measuring the level of the glutathione. But what we have observed particularly in two key areas, hepatitis and HIV, where we have had people who have come very ill, and hepatitis with very high viral loads, those ones are things you can measure. And you put them on, they take consistently. And then you see them a month, 2 months, 3 months down the line, and they look so well. They look so much better. And if they come to understand and they add it on to their regular medications, especially the HIV. Yes. So it's not like it's replacing the medication. It's just to add on, to give the body, because a lot of the viral illnesses, it's the body's immune system that fights them. And two key ones are hypertension and HIV. So once you have a way of boosting the immune system, then the results can be fantastic.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And like we've always been saying, ribosine is one of the main things that is raising the glutathione level and boosting the immune system 300% more than the next best of it. Indeed, there are several people who have been using this ribosine. And the good thing is that because it's natural, it allows the person, the body allows it for it to function the way it's supposed to. And I know a lot of people have been using this ribosine across this country. Ladies and gentlemen, what I want us now to do is to listen to a few people who have used this thing, have benefited from it, and then they can share some of their stories with us. For those of you who have, you can just raise your hand and share some of your story with us. But I want Dr. Prosper Tettey Doe in UK, London, to share his story because it's very profound. Dr. Doe.
Hello, Prof. Can you hear me?
Would you please share with us your story that you were telling me the other day?
Can you hear me, Prof?
Yes, please. We can hear you loud and clear.
All right, thank you. Briefly, yes, as I said, I'm a doctor in the UK practicing. I started using ribosine in May 2021. And the good thing was that my body was being prepared, because I had, in that same year, in September, I had COVID. And this was confirmed. I had a high temperature, and I went to the hospital and they tested I was positive COVID. And as I went in, I was also among the vulnerable group because I have what we call sickle cell disease, SC, if you know, and then I was a part of the shielding. I was shielding working from home. So the two combined was not a very good combination. But the good thing was that I had ribosine with me. And so when I went in, I was given treatment. I didn't need to be on any special treatment in terms of what the doctors gave me, because though I was in isolation, I was still walking around. And when the doctors gave their usual treatment and then I continued with my ribosine during that time. And the average period is 3 weeks to be in hospital. That's for a fit person with COVID at that time. And the longest stay is 300 days. That's the record in the UK. But thank God, within 1 week, that is 7 days, I was discharged. And I was even asking that they should wait and let my wife come and pick me. They said, no, they need a bed. That was how well I was. And they will give me hospital transport so that I get home quickly so that somebody can use my bed. And so this is why I recommend ribosine. And it's very good, and I continue to take it. And because it's really helped me to come through this important period and during this pandemic. So I recommend it to everyone to use. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I like your story. You've been sharing some of these things with me. And because you yourself, you are a medical doctor, you have seen the science behind the use of this ribosine. So you are not just speaking from experience, but you're also speaking from intellectual knowledge. And I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, let me talk to Beta. To Beta, if you're there, just tell us some of your experiences that you had thus far by using the ribosine technique.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
Today, my testimony was a colleague friend of mine. She started working with us, that was January 2021, last year. So anytime that she has her menses, she won't come to work for 3 days. That's her menstrual cramps. I've been telling her that she should use our ribosine plant. It's very good for her. She will tell me, oh, it's expensive, this and that. So just last month, I was at work and she came. I have my branch, but she is at the head office. She came and she was like, Beta, in fact, I've been suffering, so I want to try your ribosine. I took the money. I wanted to dash her some, but since she has been tossing around, yes. So I took the money. I gave her the product. She used it for just 2 weeks. Although she was not in her menses, she was having pimples all over her face. 2 weeks, her pimples was gone. She called me, hey, I don't better. I said, what? I was like, I told you, you will have your own testimony. Even I didn't tell her that, oh, it's for her pimples, just for her menstrual cramps, but she got another testimony. Yesterday, she called me that she is in her menses, but she's still at work, walking around like nothing is happening to her. So that's how powerful our ribosine is.
That's really, really incredible. Thank you for sharing that with us. Let me go to Georgina Eheligbet, also from the UK, to share your story with us. Georgina, please go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. Much more. Yeah, my testimony goes as far back as 2020. In July, a friend of mine sent me the link to watch. I didn't watch. She did ask me. I said, no, I haven't got time to watch the link. Then she sent it again. She called me. I said, no, I haven't been able to watch it. Then the third time she sent it, I said, oh, okay, let me just watch it so that when she calls me, I'll be able to tell her that I've watched it. At that time, she didn't even know that I was having a problem. So when I watched the link, oh, it was like a sent message from God to me, because I was having pain in both knees. I couldn't sit down, couldn't climb.
Please, let me quickly ask, how old are you?
I'm now 72.
Wow, I didn't know this. I said I always ask you, but it just dawned on me.
Yeah.
Okay, please go ahead. Wow.
Yeah, so I couldn't climb the steps. And even when I'm lying in bed, I couldn't turn. And at times when I'm walking, it's like one driving a car, and then the gear from third gear will come back to the first gear. Then I'll be stuck static. I couldn't move. That is how excruciating it was. And all my doctors have tried putting me on this ANSA painkillers. I've taken so many, and I've taken paracetamol to the extent that I started having pain in my liver area and also in my kidneys. And because I'm a nurse, I know that something was going very bad with me. So I called her and I said, Tettey, please, I want to buy the product and try it. But could you please just sign me on? I want to do it as the business as well and also to buy the product and use for myself. So in August 21st, I started the product. And within 2 weeks, I could climb the steps. When I sit, my grandchildren don't hold me, you know, to get up anymore. And they were all happy. Oh, grandma can walk. Grandma can climb the steps. They were all happy with me. That is how powerful the ribosine is. Now, when I came to Ghana in 2020 December, my husband was not well. He did not tell me, but I could see he wasn't well. So I said, oh, let me give you this ribosine. He said, no, he doesn't like taking medication, but I should give him 2 weeks. I gave him 2 weeks, and on the 23rd of December, I started him on the ribosine. And within a week, he could see the change. And now he himself is propagating it to other people that it is good. I gave it to my sister-in-law. She came, I did her BP, and it was about 203 over 104. I said, no, now you are having stroke. She said, yes, Ekuma, when I'm walking, it's like I'm going down, I'm dropping. I said, yes, you're almost having stroke. So I started her on the ribosine, and within a week, it came down, and now it has settled. She's never taken any hospital medication, and now it's settled. I've given it to people with asthma, people with hypertension, people with severe abdominal pain, and they have all recovered. But one thing they keep on telling me that it is expensive. I say, yes, it's better you go borrow money and buy it than to get in crisis, and then now you are rushing to the hospital to take chemicals. So I recommend this product to everybody. I gave it to a lady here in UK. She was also having the same symptoms like mine, and her knee was so swollen. So the doctors had planned to do knee replacement for her. But when I started it on her, she went for checkup, and the doctors were shocked. They said, no, something has shifted. What have you done? I said, did you tell them? She said, no. I said, I should have told them, and should have even carried it and showed it to them. So that is how powerful this ribosine is.
It is powerful.
Yeah.
It is powerful.
And I recommend it to everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I know I sense it in your excitement. Each time you talk, you are speaking from experience because you have seen it, felt it, used it, given it to people, seen all the evidences by yourself. And that is coming out from the beginning the way you know. That's why I love it anytime you talk. But honestly, I didn't know that you are strong, even despite your age. You know, you are able to speak like a young lady like that. God has indeed been so good. Thank you for sharing this with us. We appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not something that is being said for a joke. It's something that you want to take it well. Your cellular health depends on your molecules. And whether you grow stronger, weaker, will depend on how you treat your health now. So many people are doing. But in the year 2020 up to now, some of the people I thought would never die have died. Many have died. And I'm not talking about older people. In fact, it's like it's gotten to a point my mother now says that it looks like everybody is dying, so now I'm ready. It's not older generations death anymore. I have seen 21-year-old die 4 months ago. I've seen 23 die. I've seen 41 die. I've seen 38 die. It is not a joke. Your health is the most precious thing that you want to have. Let me finally go to Stephen Akute. Stephen, please share your story with us. Stephen.
Yeah, hello.
Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yes, this is, I believe you can hear me loud and clear.
Loud and clear, yes.
Yeah, My name is Stephen Akute. I chanced on ribosine products a few years ago in 2017. And for me, it has been awesome. A friend of mine actually introduced me to it. And I decided to have an open mind and tried it. So I took it. I was having a problem with my spinal cord, pain in my spine, and also pain in my waist. Initially, I thought it was normal. Anytime it comes, I take painkillers, and then it goes. A few days, it comes back again, and it became a nagging one. So when I chanced on ribosine and I gave it a try, within 2 weeks of using the ribosine product, my spinal pain just left, and then my waist pain had never surfaced again. So there I said to myself, wow, this is truly a powerful product. And quickly I became a disciple of this particular product. Wow. That notwithstanding, there was this lady friend of mine at the workplace, and she has put on so much weight, and according to her, the husband wasn't so happy about it. So she heard that I have a product, the ribosine weight loss product, which could help her. So she came and I told her that yes, but for her to believe me, unless she give it a try. So she decided to give it a try, and I sold the product to her. She took the product just within 2 weeks. She visited the doctor, and they wanted to do a urine test. So when they did the urine test, according to her, the doctor called her in and said, why are you starving yourself? You want to kill yourself? And she asked, no, she's okay. And she said, I see a lot of ketones in your urine. And I thought you'd been starving yourself. Said no. He said, oh, okay, I remember. I take this particular product. And then the doctor said to her, if this is the product you are taking, which is letting you pass out ketones, then continue taking it. Ketones actually are fats, those bad fats in our body. And lo and behold, within 2 weeks she took this product, she was weighing 105. When they did the weighing that particular day, she weighed 90. Wow. And then she said, wow, this product really works. And she also decided to introduce it to the husband. And beautiful. Today, as I speak to you, she's also a disciple of this particular product. All I'm trying to say is that this product, ribosine product, truly works. But for you to have the same testimony that we are giving today, is for you to give it a try. So go out there and get the right to give it a try. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stephen. We appreciate it. Ladies, I want to put on record that our products are not medicines. They do not cure a particular disease. What they do is that they raise your molecular defenses, the glutathione. We've already said that. And when that happens, your body is able to correct its own anomalies. The products are designed as plant products. They are herbal. So there are no negative side effects to it. Please know that. There are no negative side effects to it. When a person takes it, the person will experience certain things called detoxification. The person will wee-wee. The person will poo-poo. It's slightly more than usual because that is the way by which the body purges itself of disease. When these things are happening, they are not side effects, because side effects are seen as negative things. When you take a paracetamol or aspirin or ibuprofen or nifedipine or amlodipine, they will tell you the exact side effect. That's not what these are. These things are natural. They are food supplements. They are replacing your food at the highest level of science, and that is what is happening. But you have to take it in conjunction with your normal medication. So when you are taking your antihypertensive or antidiabetic drug, don't stop them, take them. Along the line, your own doctor will tell you that stop this one, stop that one, stop that one. And in the beginning, you take them together in conjunction with each other. Drink lots of water as you are taking them in the first 7 days, because this water is going to allow the body to flush the toxin out by virtue of urine sweat. I have used this product. The reason why I'm so passionate about this is because somebody might say that I'm just a doctor just talking and talking. I've used this product myself. I've had insomnia for 13 years. I couldn't sleep beyond 3 hours. That is why I've learned so much. I've learned so many. I have 5 degrees. Yet, after 13 years of my insomnia, I decided to try this ribosome. I didn't even believe it. I remember I was in the UK. I spoke to some of the doctors who have written articles. I attended conferences asking my colleagues, orthopedic surgeons, laboratory technicians, several toxicologists and medicinal chemists about this. And each one of them is telling me that based on science, I need to try the ribosome. One of my students gave it to me. I used it. Within 2 days, my insomnia was gone. I was so passionate about it. Earlier on, I had given it to my mother. My mother had diabetes for 16 years. She started using the ribosome. I was counting it. I'm a scientist. I was counting the days in which this thing was going to help my mother. 68 days. My colleague doctor in Sakumono called me and told me that it looks like your mother's situation is something that I can't understand. I didn't want to tell you, I've monitored him for 3 months and then monitored him for another 2 months. I can't see the traces of the situation again. And then when I told him and gave him articles to read, him so happy to want to try it. And today he's also championing the whole virus. So please use it. Don't wait for things to become critical. Prevention is cheaper and better than curing. I have seen this. There are several great men. They will tell me that this thing is so expensive. But when they now realize that the pain is coming, the problem is coming. Now there was somebody who called me and told me that, Doc, I'm told to go and do surgery. It will cost 54,000. 54,000 cities. How am I going to get the money? He said. Now he's coming to me to come and use the ribosome. I told him this is not to replace your surgery. Once it is surgical, it has reached the most dangerous section. You've got to do the surgery. Okay? So when you have fibroid, you got to do the fibroid surgery because you can't use a ribosome to handle it. It has reached the serious stage. You've got to do the surgery and then take the ribosome to allow the healing, according to Professor Alvin. You have to allow the healing from the ribosome to allow you to do faster. But you cannot use it to replace the surgery. So don't wait for things to reach a critical stage before thinking. I have seen it. My parents are now 80. Hypertension, they don't sense it anymore. Diabetes, the osteoporosis and osteoarthritis, they don't sense it anymore. People are saying that what is the magic in it? It is the prevention. But you see, people don't see the prevention. People don't see with their naked eye that I was in a hospital, they did a surgery on me and now I'm better. No, that is not prevention. Prevention is like you are not sick. And yet your problems are solved. And so people don't see that it's more powerful. They don't see it. And that is why a lot of people joke with their health. They wait for the blood to start popping out before they now go that. Don't do that. And our goal is to let the world take care of your health. Ladies and gentlemen, before we leave, I'm going to give you 3 health tips that will help you to be stronger. Okay? One of the things that is worrying a lot of people is overthinking. These are quick 3 tips for you. Don't overthink. Every time be positive in your brain. Even if things are not working, tell yourself they are working. Even if they are not working, just say it 10 times. They are working. I'm telling you, they are working. You're working. Once you speak to the brain, that way your brain begins to accept that things are what? Working. It heals you from stress and from possible cardiac arrest. Okay? Next thing, drink lots and lots of water. Drink lots of water. Your body needs a lot of water to be able to purge itself of disease. Okay? Next week when we meet, we are going to discuss some of the finest points again about ribosome. And now we will look at other diseases that is worrying people. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the entire caboodle for today. Thank you very much. I want to take this opportunity to mention the names of all the people who have been with us. I want to say thank you so much, Stephen. I could thank Beth, I put Dr. Prosper, Georgina Heligan, Dr. Gloria, my able-bodied lady. She is a wonderful woman, great medical doctor who is helping a lot of people all over the world. Alphonse Okoye, Cynthia Pei, Emmanuel Impi, Ernest Nana Amankwa Flores Monique, Guy Ivy, Johnny Bonzi, Lawrence Lumba, Margaret Sekamuta, Nanje, Peter and Wanji, Sean, Yusuf Florence, Emma Ikebi. Thank you all very much indeed. Have a wonderful evening and be safe because we need you the next time to tell your story. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you all very much. Bye-bye.